Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Happy Wednesday. So yesterday was Lane Meyer's sentencing hearing. I'm sure everybody knows all about it, but there's a couple things that I want to say because I like to say it. Number one, the prosecutor seemed incredibly reasonable. Incredibly reasonable. The prosecutor recommending probation was great. I was so thankful to hear that. Huge sigh of relief. Generally speaking, if the prosecution is recommending probation, generally speaking, the court would be hard-pressed to justify putting him in prison. So that was great. That was absolutely great. Like I said, she seemed incredibly reasonable despite all the hate that was directed to her. She managed to separate those two things, and she made a good recommendation. It was even if the court had gone with her recommendation, I would have been happy. It would have been a good recommendation, and she was really forgiving of Lane Myers and Lane Myers supporters. Lane Myers was a complete douche, and I got to listen to about half of his statements to the court before I had to go away for a client conference. But when I left, he had been doing everything possible to undermine the recommendation made by his prosecutor. And I was very concerned that he was going to dig himself into a hole and get jail time. But Judge Metcalf is a very good judge. And for everybody who thought that Judge Metcalf was going to get upset, frustrated, that he was doing things based on some dislike or prejudice for Lane Myers, once again, he separated his emotions from his professional job, and he made a good order, a good sentence. I strongly suspect that it will withstand constitutional scrutiny. I don't think that there's, even with not allowing Lane Myers to make social media and YouTube posts about Matthew Walker, I think it will withstand constitutional scrutiny. I think it's narrowly tailored enough. I think it is the least intrusive method of achieving what is a overwhelming government interest in protecting the victim from harassment, i.e. harassment through her husband. I thought it was very judicious of Judge Metcalf. One would expect a judge to be judicious, to not include protective orders or restrictions on Lane Myers regarding the victim's mother and I think brothers. Again, excellent, very judicious. I have zero complaints with the prosecutor and the judge. They were incredibly fair, incredibly forgiving. And they are not the monsters that the Lane Myers sycophants were laying out. They're not. They were cool, calm, collected. And for everybody who thought that Lane Myers was going to pull some magic rabbit out of his ass, well, surprise, surprise, surprise. Once again, Johnny Bear was right. Pat on the back. He took a plea deal. He took a good plea deal. He got a good sentence. I mean, that's about as good as you could expect. This is his 5th and 6th felonies, and he only got 3 years of probation because he has a good support system. I mean, the judge was incredibly lenient. The prosecutor was incredibly lenient. Now, I have a lot of hope in Lane Myers. I have a lot of faith that Lane Myers is going to contain himself for the next 3 years. Maybe he'll find another person to vent about or whatever. But I have a lot of hope. And one other thing. Let me just say this once again for the record. Matthew Walker did nothing wrong. Matthew Walker did nothing wrong. He filed a case against Lane Myers when he thought he had a case that he could win. At some point, there was an issue. I'm going to assume that he thought he either couldn't win it, or if he did win it, it wouldn't be enforceable because it would violate the constitutional rights of Lane Myers, etc. And so he dismissed it, which is what he's supposed to do. And he dismissed it without prejudice, because you never know if there's going to be some change in the law. If the Supreme Court is going to make a new ruling, or the Arizona Supreme Court is going to make a new ruling, or whatever, that's going to allow for the kind of conviction that would follow from the prosecution that Matthew Walker was doing. He did everything right. He did everything right. And also, for those of you who think that it was like somehow improper for Matthew Walker to challenge Lane Meyer's competency, I mean, the way he fucked that pig the entire time, his sentencing arguments were atrocious. He very easily could have crossed a line and convinced the judge that no, actually, dude needs to be in jail for his own protection as well as for the protection of the victim. The judge could have done that based on his arguments. I was concerned he would. He was not capable. He was not capable of representing himself. He won 0 motions, except I guess a motion for extended page limits. I mean, like, nothing substantive. He didn't win any substantive motions. He didn't understand the law. He admitted that he thought he did his research, and he thought he understood the law going in, and he thought he was within firm constitutional footing doing the things he was doing. But he was wrong. He admitted that in his closing arguments. So he's not an attorney. He's not a replacement for an attorney. The prosecution did a good workmanlike job. Both of the attorneys who assisted Lane Myers and or represented him did a good job. Everybody, the judge did a good job. Everybody understood the process. Everybody understood the process except for Lane Myers and his supporters. Everybody understood the process. Like, this was marching down a road that you could see for a country mile if you understood the process. He was going to get convicted if he didn't plea. I knew it. The prosecutor knew it. The judge knew it. Both of his defense counsels knew it. Lane Myers didn't, at least until he got convinced. Maybe his girlfriend came in and saved the day, wife, whatever, I don't care, and convinced him as an unbiased person who wanted to have her, the person that she loved, back home with her. Maybe she was able to convince him. Maybe eventually he figured out. Maybe his defense attorneys were able to get to him. I don't know. But thank God someone got to him. Thank God someone got to him. Because he was looking at an unreasonable amount of prison time for what he did. Because he was really stupid in persisting in doing what he was doing. Because he didn't understand the law. He was dead right as he sped along, and now he's as dead as if he was wrong. You know what I'm saying? Dunning-Kruger. He was going to die on Mount Stupidity as the king of Dunning-Kruger. And if his friends who have been profiting off of him, Reluctant Prophet and Joshua Gray, if they are truly his friends, and they're not just there to profit off of him and off of his misfortune and misery and his freedom, if they're not just there to profit off of him, they will distance themselves from him. They will no longer push against the victim and attempt to drag Lane Myers into further legal issues. If Lane Myers' supporters are actually his supporters, they will back off from the victim. They will stop egging Lane Myers on to commit new felonies. He is, at this point, a 6-time felon. A 6-time felon. He can't afford many more. Leniency will run out. There will be a date and a time, if he continues down this path he's heading down, where he's going to catch some real prison time. Don't assist him. Don't assist him in getting that prison time, please. For his sake. For your sake. So, I'm very happy. I'm very happy with the result of that. Also, in Earl Warden's case, the state filed their responses late, but the who cares, right? the Court of Appeals in Texas just doesn't seem to care about what the state does or when it does it. They just don't seem to care. So I assume that they'll be fine. They'll accept it. They'll consider it, whatever. Again, with Earl Warden, very, very low odds of getting the rehearing, and even lower odds of prevailing on the rehearing. It's still possible. He's got a shot. He should take the shot. Once again, I still think that the trial was unfair because of supporters, like all of you people who get so invested into this stuff. You're like, people are like, oh, well, you watch and comment and make videos. Like, yeah, but I'm not invested. Like, I'm not out there causing problems for people. I'm sitting in my car making YouTube videos, giving my take on what's going on, not egging anybody on to commit, to break the law or to run up someone's prison time. I'm not showing up at the courthouses. And I'm not saying showing up at the courthouse is bad, but like Reluctant Prophet, I think it was Reluctant Prophet was present, and he was trying to video record the sentencing and was arguing with the judge. And it's like this is one of the guys. This is one of the guys that's causing the problem. And look, he's here in court causing the problem. And he's egging on Lane Myers, and he's here with Lane Myers. And like the connection is just undeniable, and it's just all bad. All bad. So if you're a Lane Meyer supporter, rejoice that he got a very light sentence, way less than what he could have gotten. Probation sucks, but it's way better than being in poke me in the ass penitentiary. Unless you're into that kind of thing. And, please help Lane Myers not violate his probation terms. Help him by not egging him on to commit violations. So anyway, that's all I got for you today. Thanks for watching. Good luck to you, Lane Myers. You got a break. I hope you take every advantage of it. Live a good, clean life. Enjoy your dog. Enjoy your bike riding, and good luck to you, sir. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.